Welcome back. And the news says it is better we divide Nigeria, Northern Elder. Chairman of Dialogue Group in Kaduna, Alhaji Mohammed Mahadi Shehu, has lamented the deep ethno-religious divisions in the country, stating that breaking up the country may not be such a bad idea. The prolific writer and public speaker stated that the amalgamation of the northern and southern protectorates by the British in 1914 was a huge mistake. He stated that most Nigerians have not been able to rise about ethnic and religious sentiments, making a united nation difficult to achieve. Shehu disclosed this in an interview published by Daily Sun on Monday. He said, when the amalgamation of Nigeria took place, virtually everybody's head in this country was not up. In other words, nobody realized the consequences of merging this country. With the passage of time, the knowledge with clear daily happenings, it was realized long ago that the amalgamation was done in haste, out of mischief, without taking into consideration the peculiarities in Nigeria. But before it was realized it had been done and it had become a country, events from 1960 to date have clearly shown that the amalgamation was the biggest mistake of that century, and there is nothing wrong in righting the wrong when you realize wrong is wrong. Amalgamation is wrong. Our togetherness had been fused together not through consultation but through unilateral action of the colonial masters and politicians at that time to serve their immediate needs. That was what happened. And you find that this is a bit ironic because for a country that claims to practice democracy, the country should have been voted, or the people should have voted if they actually wanted to be together. That could have saved a lot of stress. It continues and says, you will agree with me that from 1996 to date, precisely it has not been rosy and easy for Nigeria. It has been one form of calamity, tragedy, or the other. In fact, we are now at the height of suspicion. We do not trust and believe in each other. We are at each other's throat and our daggers drawn. Must we allow another war to come before we part? It's very, very true, as Nigeria is just highly diverse, which is a really, really good thing. But then when it's so diverse that we don't even see each other as one, and then we complain about the system being ruling us, especially when in power, it's not even diverse. You see that it's a lot of northern people in power, and you can see how with the history of Biafrans as well, that comes in, and you see how much, since the time of independence, how much Igbo people have been in power, as in we're talking vice president and president level. It continues and says, let us peacefully go on the table, break the collar, distribute the country for everybody's peace. If we do not do it now, the future generation will abuse us. It is better for Nigeria to break into smaller countries as much as possible if that will allow us to save properties, lives, relationships, and posterity, because I do not see any agent coming now in human form to unite Nigeria. At the end of the day, why Nigeria will never ever separate is because of selfish intent, because at the end of the day, we already know with natural resources where they are and where natural resources aren't. And so people that want, or a group that wants to benefit from that, would want to keep the country together for their own personal gain. At the end of the day, we're not even utilizing our resources very well. And I think a lot of research has to be gone into what resources do we have in each part of the country, as in each part can we capitalize on and make money and make the economy grow. But we're not doing that. But when you find oil, that's the main 100% focus that we've left, the other resources that we could actually capitalize on to make the economy better. For example, in the north, it is very, very sunny there. They can use the sun, a natural energy source, and create electricity that could lead to other innovations. Shehu added, people have gone under the umbrella of Islam and Christianity to advance their political cause, only for them also to ride on the Islamic and Christian umbrella to plant hate and venom in the mind, heart, psyche, and social economic activities of Nigeria, such that today that unity is no more there. And he could have never said it better. This exactly is basically what is dividing Nigeria. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be religious, but then when you then take logic and reasoning out of how you make decisions, then you find that it's like we're making really grave mistakes, and we then suffer the consequences, and then we're asking why our God or whatever you serve is doing you wrong. But the thing is, you've left logic and reasoning out of decision making, and we land ourselves into problems, and then we start crying. It continues and says, if anybody is pretending that there is unity in this country, he is on his own and God help him. You have to be very ignorant to think that. But I am not going to live in denial. All is not well. Very true. All will not be well until these divisions are identified, or are rather addressed, by giving people independence the way they want it. Ask any Yoruba man, 90% will tell you he is waiting for the actualization of an Oduduwa Republic. Ask any Igbo man, he is waiting for the actualization of the Sovereign Republic of Biafra. Ask anybody from the Niger Delta region, he is waiting for the Niger Delta Republic. It is probably the North that there is no agenda of Arawa Republic because of our peculiarities. The Yoruba nations are more homogeneous than the North. Niger Delta and the Igbo are more homogeneous, but they all have their own internal divisions. But in the North, we have ethnic minorities, other smaller enclaves that are not willing to go with the majority ethnic tribes because of their previous experiences and that of their great-great-grandfathers. They have also lost trust in the bigger tribes. At the end of the day, I think a contract has to be made and has to be strictly adhered to, where it's like, if you're not going to agree to do something, then you have to come together, make a contract and be like, this is what I want, this is what I want. And when we actualize it, we work together to achieve equality, especially economically. The issue of the power shift is an interesting issue, as that tells you it is better we divide Nigeria. One example, if you hear an Igbo man clamoring for power shift, if power were to shift to an indigenous Muslim Igbo, ask an Igbo man, because there are indigenous Igbo Muslims there. If power were to shift to, say, Imo State and is shifted to an indigenous Muslim Igbo, you'd ask the entire Igbo nation, who are not Muslims, whether power has shifted to them. They will tell you no. If you ask a Yoruba man about power shift, to say Moda Keke, ask an Ife man whether power has shifted to him, and the answer would be that it is not, because it is to his sworn enemies. At the end of the day, when we talk about power, not everyone is gonna have power. I mean, at the end of the day, if the contract you've signed and what you've asked for by the government is being adhered to and catered to, then there will be no problems. It's that simple. In Katsina says, the Karadua people have been clamoring for power shift to them. Governor Aminu Masari is from Karadua, but where that power falling to an indigenous Christian in Malumfashi, Kafo, Yabori, Askia, or Fatuna, the Hausa man in that area will tell you no. So a country where you feel really comfortable when a man is from your church, mosque, house, or tribe becomes president, that country is gone, and it is only a matter of time. At the end of the day, we should never really support a politician or a party. We should support the idea of leadership, which in Nigeria should be democracy. But if you support democracy, it doesn't really matter who is running. You're only going to vote for the person who you feel is going to adhere to that same values as you do. That is it. When you put sentiment and you're following this person religiously for them to go into power, they're going to power and your interests are not made. And that is a fact. Put what you think in the comment section below. Do you believe that Nigeria will survive better if we divide Nigeria into sub-countries? Do not forget to like and subscribe.